All right, here we go. A couple technical issues going on here. I think I'm live. Let's see. All right, let's check and see what's going on. Sorry for a little bit of technical difficulties going live, going out, updating software, all this fun stuff. Wow, lots to talk about, happy holidays, everybody. Hope everybody's getting together, being safe, enjoying family, all those good things. It's been a busy couple weeks. We did our last wedding of 2021 on December 4th. It was a fabulous wedding, wonderful team, gorgeous decor, beautiful bride and groom, wonderful families. It was an awesome way to end the year. The very next day, Sunday, I caught a 5 a.m. flight, headed out to New Mexico, Albuquerque, New Mexico, to do a wildlife birds in flight workshop co-hosted with Scott Bourne at Bosque del Apache. So that's kind of the overview. I'm going to go through some of those photos and how I pack and prepare and what do I do and how do I get there with all this gear, you know, in one bag to be safe. And most importantly, I wish I had this a week ago. Dun, da, da, da. We're going to unbox the Canon EOS R3 and I'm going to share my results and what I think and where it's going, everything I've read. It's an incredible camera. Focus acquisition is so insane. Just picks things up right away, and the stickiness of it, meaning once it acquires it, it stays on even if you fly through things, fly in front of you, and interference, things like that. Image quality for higher ISOs, the speed at which you can capture. Its default at a electronic shutter. So let me make sure. I can't tell if this thing is live or not. Let me go to my page on my phone, see if we can use that as a monitor, right? Am I live? I better be live. Yeah, it says I'm live. Preview mode. All right, there it is. Yes, okay. So I'll take any questions you guys might have. Pop in, join the party. So without further ado, let's do the thing. So here's the box, arrived from Canon. I was a little bit concerned because the top of it's all greasy. I'm like, oh no, what happened? But it wasn't crushed or anything. So let's do the deed. Whenever I get a new camera, I try and make the first frame frameable. You know, I'm just not going to whip it out of the box and start clicking the shutter, but I'll go through how I'm going to set it up with you using EOS utilities, getting your copyright information, time syncing, all those sets of things, because that's really important for cataloging and checking your photos. Here we go. And also make sure no photos are orphaned, meaning if they get out on the internet, they're copyrighted and tagged. So here it is, the EOS R3. Anything else in the box in here? Oh, no, just bubble wrap, just the body. Didn't slip in a new lens. All right, so let's get that out of the way. Very cool. Awesomeness. Don't need to keep that bug up. Let's switch over here. Hey, Larry, what's going on? How you doing? Thanks again for all your hard work and input and being a part of the Bob and Dawn Davis team. Larry Remaker is one of our most talented second shooters and has his own business. But here we go, the EOS R3. Ooh. Is there some sound effects on this thing that I should play, like the clapping, right? All right, I'm excited. I don't know about you. It's Christmas for me. So I'm opening up the box. There we go. Of course, the very important manual. Got that. Image gateway, warranty card. No longer do you get all the box of discs and things that come with it because all the software and everything you need is downloadable right from Canon's website. And nice and fresh. You gotta love that new camera smell, right? And let's see if Larry picks up on any of these. Here it is. Small, compact. I love that the battery grip is built in. It's a full pound lighter than the EOS 1DX Mark III. I feel ergonomically it fits my hand even better and more comfortable than the R5 with the battery grip. And it actually seems a little bit smaller, but we could compare the two. So Larry, you pick up anything on this unboxing? Notice anything? No? I'm cheating. It's unboxed, but I unboxed it. I took it out yesterday. I found a snowy owl in the farm fields in central Illinois, so I went and photographed it, put it to the test. I hope I made the first frame frameable, and I'll show you that in a second, but I've already unboxed it, took it out, made some pictures with it. It takes the same battery as the 1DX Mark III, so the LPE19, there we go, has the same articulated screen that we all have become used to and love. Dual card slots. Everything is weather sealed, so this is supposed to be magnesium alloy body, just as tough, just as weather sealed as the Canon flagship 1DX line, or the 1 series line. It does have a shoe shoe protector, little rubber shoe protector that's actually pretty well snug in there. You got to release a button to put it in. That keeps any weather from getting in there, because this is not just a hot shoe for flashes, but many accessories could go in here. External monitors, microphones, and then they get the power from the camera itself. I've already set it up for me, and I'll walk through how I've set up my settings. I like the Peak Design clutch grip. Although the one thing I was curious that Canon didn't put on it, all the other cameras that I've used that have a battery grip or a bottom has a post to put a hand strap in. So now I have to use the little Arca Swiss plate from Peak Design to get the bottom of the clutch in. All the other cameras have a little post here because Canon used to offer as an accessory a hand strap like this. And I love the quick release Peak designs, because if I have this on a 600mm lens on a monopod, tripod, or landscape for that matter, I take the strap off so it's not blowing in the wind, causing any motion. You'll notice the eye viewfinder is huge. I did get a chance to test out the eye tracking. I really need glasses just for reading and low light and seeing things close up. You need the accessory eye cap for glasses, because I tried to calibrate the camera to track my eye with my glasses on in bright sunlight, and it'll tell you too much light, meaning there's too much light getting between my eye glasses and this. But when you use your eye and calibrate it, oh my God, and you keep calibrating it. So the more often you calibrate it, the more accurate the eye tracking is. It was crazy. Looking at the snowy white owl and the way they move about, and wherever you look in the viewfinder, you'll get a target. It's a circle with like a little orange dot in it, and as you're pressing the shutter looking at it, boom, there goes the focus mark, right? Goes right to there, focus and lock. It's amazing. So far that's been pretty impressive. I'll know more when we use it at a wedding, an event, and things of that nature, but the first day, the first outing I've had with it, it has been truly, truly outstanding. 1 second here. Got, oh, Allie, did you let Hunter out?
I did.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Our puppy dog, Hunter, was asking to go outside, always. All right, so let me get my monitor back up here. Good. So, it is beautiful. Dual card slots in the side. So we have our, I have a 512 gig Extreme, and it's the CF Express, right? Put your name on everything, people. Put your name and phone number, so if you drop a card, lose a card, or if you shoot with other photographers, hand the cards off, everybody knows whose cards are whose. So that goes in the first slot, and then we have an SD card, SanDisk Extreme SD card in the second slot. The screen and viewfinder are among the best I've ever seen and used. really clear. The EVF is more natural than ever, and it also has a feature on there. So it looks like an optical viewfinder with a higher dynamic range. So you can see the shadows, you can see the highlights. The only disadvantage I learned with using that is then it's not what you see is what you get through the viewfinder. So I like to have exposure simulation enabled. With that, with exposure simulation, what you see is what you get in your color, in your exposure, and so forth. But the viewfinder is extremely bright, great screen. I've got it all set up. And what I'm going to share with you now, for anybody who has any Canon cameras, I need to get a cable. Find a cable here. It's in my backpack. I'll get that in a second. Let me switch cameras here. And that's going to be our next topic. So let me clean up this environment. Move the box. Oh, wrong spot. Get this out of the way. Good deal. And this is going to be our second topic, is Bosque del Apache Wildlife Workshop and how I get there. So this is the Mindshift Think Tank backlight 45-liter backpack. It's loaded up, but what I use is a pair of accessory reels, little $15, $20 wheels to get through the airport, right? So we could wheel this thing around and get through the airport. I take my straps, reverse them around the backpack, clip them together, clip the belt in the front, tripods on the side, Pro Media Gear tripod, and a gimbal. So I didn't go with a traditional gimbal. I know I'm taking a long way to get to the cable, but it'll be self-explanatory in a second. Because when we were at Bosque, not only were we photographing wildlife, birds in flight, the sandhill crane migration, Ross's geese, snow geese, and the like, which I like to have it steady so I can use a lower shutter speed, but I'll get to that in a second, is I also went to White Sands National Park. So then I want just a straight tripod, no gimbal. So instead of carrying two heads, a ball head and then a gimbal head, Pro Media Gear makes an adapter called the Katana Tomahawk. And what that is it's on the other side of my backpack here, is a gimbal adapter. So it goes right into the head of the ball head, of any ball head, and now I have the fluid mobility of a gimbal without carrying two heads. So I need to get into the front pocket here before we actually go through what's in my bag to get the cable that I need to connect the R3 to show you how to set it up. Any Canon camera will go through this setup that I'm going to share with you. But in the front, I have all my computer stuff, hard drives, and I'll unbox all this in a second too. But in the meantime, I need a cable. So let's switch back over here. All right. Larry, you still with me, or you tag out? You bored yet? Been practicing the triangle of light, your lighting. It's one thing I haven't tried yet, is how do flashes work with this? So I'm going to connect. It's a USB-C cable to the camera, and I'm going to go desktop. Here we go. We're going to share the desktop so you can see what's going to happen is when I connect, and again, the feel of this and how light it is and well balanced is just the bomb. So I'm going to get the USB-C cable plugged into the side port of the R3, and now I'm going to plug this in to my laptop. And what it will do is it's going to launch EOS Utilities. Here we go. So EOS Utility is launching. Get that to come up here. And what we're going to do, here we go, there it is. Come on. Am I running out of resources here? What's going on? Return the... It launched it. We're connected to the computer. It's still busy talking to one another. It's probably because of the streaming that's going on. But the reason I want to show you this is how I time sync my cameras, and this is how I put all the information the metadata information called IPTC. Basically what that is is the ability to put all your caption information, who, what, when, where, why, and most importantly, your copyright and contact information into the camera. So every picture I take with this camera is not only copyrighted, but there's a caption on there, how to reach me. Photos may not be used without written permission from Bob and Dawn Davis. I think I might be taxing the computer a little bit here. Let me just try booting this off and turning the camera back on. See if that comes up and recognizes it. I know it's just because I'm using everything on the camera on the computer. Get it to connect up. Come on, EOS Utility. I'll quit that, relaunch it. EOS Utility 3. Now, why isn't it connecting? I did it the other day because this is how I set up the camera. Of course, whenever you're live, something always goes on. It might not like this cable, but it did launch the software. So I'll show you this in a second. Let me quit that so it can keep moving and not hold you up. But what will happen is I'm going to launch Photo Mechanic, and these are the first frame of the EOS R. So this is the EOS R3, and here is the first frame. And I wanted to make sure the first frame was frameable, and I really love this photograph. This is a snowy white owl sitting on a telephone pole out in the country. Think about this. This bird has flown south from the Arctic down here to feed and to spend its winter because the conditions get so harsh in the Arctic. And this wasn't an immature, this was an older female. And you know it's a female because they're larger and they have the black spots. Like if you saw Harry Potter, the white owl that's in Harry Potter, Hedwig, that's a female snowy owl. Males are much smaller, about half the size, and maybe one or two spots, but when they're fully mature, they're pure white. So this is the first frame. Handheld, the Canon 600mm EF, the EF version, not the RF version, version 3, which is super light. It's only 6 pounds. The camera's light. The IS is amazing. Fast shutter speed, and boom, shagalaga. So I'm going to zoom in. And this was with the eye control. So I'm looking right here, right at the owl, and it's there. I don't know if this will be able to see it through the live, but there is total detail, and it did. It picked up the eye right on the owl. It just went boom, right to the eye. So that was just amazing that it could see the eye of the owl. And I'll zoom in here a little bit more. And in the shot, I haven't opened up or edited the file to do anything like that, but you could see, I hope, the detail in the shadow area, and you could see the eye. You can see the little black spots on the owl, so that's just amazing. And this is, I believe, 24 megapixel file versus the R5, which is a 45 megapixel file. So I took the liberty to go through, and again, if you have any questions, please let me know. Here we go. You want to see anything? So what I did is I did a quick edit. So this is the first day. So I shot the whole thing in, let me disconnect the camera, and you'll be able to hear it, I hope, in electronic first shutter. So this, make sure it still is in it. Shutter mode is electronic. Silent function is off, so it makes an audible shutter sound. And in the preferences, you have 3 or 4 different shutter sounds, but this, I'll put this on. We're on high, so here it is, 30 frames a second. Oh, let me get, I got it locked, so I got to put a lens on it, because we can't fire it without a lens. All right, let me grab a lens really quick out of the backpack here. And then I will go through what's in the backpack. It's amazing the amount of gear I have in this backpack. And it weighs in at 45 pounds with laptop, everything. Tripod, plates. So here we go. Swing back over here. This is the RF 15 to 35 2.8. There we go. 30 frames a second. I don't know if you could hear it. It's barely audible. Boom, that's 30 frames. It's crazy. The shutter button, the acquisition, the responsiveness is just smooth, beautiful, great. It's not like the R5 where when you push it down, I could barely time it to click off just 1 or 3 frames in electronic shutter. It's always like 10. Where this is a little bit more sensitive, and I could get down to where I could time it between 1 to 3 frames in silent mode. I hope in the future they come up with a firmware update that allows you an electronic shutter. Well, I think this does, but on the R5 it's always high. Yes, so you have high-speed continuous, you have high-speed low, you have all those abilities in electronic shutter. So that's cool. We could just shoot single in electronic shutter. There we go. I forgot about that. I did update the firmware on the R5s before I went to Bosque to the latest firmware version. I suggest everybody do it. And I photographed the wedding and then wildlife. So for stickiness and more accuracy in acquiring focus, in low light, facial recognition, all those things were improved. And then they also added the features from the R3 to have automotive tracking, motorsports, so cars, motorcycles, bicycles, more torso recognition versus just head, face, and eyes. So that's very cool. So let's dive into some of the files. There it is with the 15 to 35. The camera is laid out very similar, not identical, but very similar to the R5, and I'll do a side-by-side comparison here in a minute. What we did lose is the ability for the touch screen to move the focus point around, which I don't really mind because I had an EOS 1DX Mark III. Let's see if I can get this up here. This button right here is touch sensitive, and anywhere you move the your finger or thumb or whatever you choose to use, it has a vertical one and a horizontal one, that will move your focus points and render things as if you were touching the screen. And I find it more intuitive and more accurate. With all the mirrorless cameras, I've really moved away from back button focus because you have such control where you're not focusing and recomposing because you can put the focus point anywhere in the field of view. So it's just amazing. The tracking sensitivity and ability to accurately track things. I have an example here where I was photographing the snowy owl just as it was taking off and someone walked in front of me, but it stayed locked onto the owl. So let's jump into some of these files, higher ISOs, things of that nature. I went through and just did a quick selection of some of these. So here's, I'll just kind of go a little bit quick and you could see the metadata is here with the R3. Hey, catch you later. Happy holidays, Larry. I'm going to record this and it will get posted onto my Facebook page and it will get posted onto YouTube. So yeah, ISO 500 here. There were some where I got up to like 6400. Here's ISO 1000. Now remember, this has a stacked CMOS is it CMOS? It is CMOS, I believe. Backlit sensor. So totally new for Canon. And the image quality, this is 1000 ISO. And look at that detail. I mean, this is just amazing. Beautiful, sharp, clear. Anywhere where I've seen what we would call noise has even a more pleasing appeal, better than film grain has ever looked. And this is at 1000 ISO. The reason I was pushing the ISO so high is because I wanted to shoot as fast a shutter speed as I could. So I was using 4000, 3200, 6000 shutter speed, anywhere from wide open at aperture 4 to 6371. You know, when a bird takes off, you want a little bit of depth of field. You want the eyes and, you know, maybe part of the body or the wings to be in focus as well. So if you're wide open, that really narrows your depth of field. But color rendition, tonalities, outstanding. Timing, I mean, boom, this is 4,000th of a second. And look at the detail in the feathers. And at 30 frames a second, you get every nuance of the bird taking flight. So I'll take this one, and we'll go back to all of them. And I could show you, here's the snowy owl thinking about taking off. Of course, the wind was blowing into its face, so that's away from me. So I was on the side, so we had sun angle, light in the eyes of the snowy owl, but she took off into the wind, just like an airplane. So she turned her back to me, and I got butt shots, right? See the light, hopefully you want the light at your back, coming over your shoulder, and you want the wind in your face, right? No, I'm sorry. The light coming over your shoulder and the wind coming over your shoulder. So they're taking off right at you. And at this instance, the wind was in my face, so I knew she was going to turn and go the other way. But you get every little nuance going through. And these are all handheld. And you can hand hold that lens because it's only 6 pounds. And at 4,000th of a second, at 30 frames per second, it tracked amazing. Even when I was barely keeping it in the frame, you could still see this is in focus, right? So it tracked the bird all the way across the field of view. Just amazing. So it's definitely going to be, here's an instance too, where the bird flew and you could see she's in focus. There's an object. I pan down and there was a person standing there. She's still in focus, still in focus. So a lot of older autofocus cameras, before let's go back to the original EOS R, the firmware, it would have jumped focus to right here on the back of this person's head. In this situation, it just held onto the bird. Now, I told the camera what to look for, so we told it animal tracking. Amazing. All the way through. I mean, it's just outstanding. So let's go back to some of these selections, and then I'm going to go over and do the unpacking. So here we go. Here's the owl. She landed on an old railroad spur that fed an electrical plant. And 4,000th of a second, super sharp. Boom. All I got to do is look through the viewfinder at the snowy owl. Let's get her in there. And boom, it focused right on her. I didn't have to take the focus mark and move it. Now, I played with all that stuff, and the camera really didn't have as big of a learning curve as I thought it would. Probably the best frame of her taking off is this one here. In this opportunity, I had the light and the wind in the proper direction, but this was the only opportunity. So she was sitting, relaxing, I'll chill, and then she said, okay, I've had enough of you watching me. Boom, took off. There you go. Excellent. I do have a couple of video clips. I'll drop down just to see. All right.
No, I don't know where it's at.
Hey, Dawn Davis, say hello. You're in the background.
You found my coupon? Did you find my phone?
Here we go. So this is just straight video. And you could see the heat distortion because the railroad tracks, it was 26 degrees outside, but those ties absorb the warmth because they're soaked in like an oil material, and that starts radiating up. In the past, I've had challenges with that, especially even with the R5 because of the resolution is so high that it won't lock focus so well. But in this instance, it did amazing, even through the heat. Now, when she's up off the ground, everything is sharp. This is 4K video. It's not the higher resolution of 6K. The camera will shoot 6K video, unlike the R5s, which will shoot 8K. Very cool. Well, I will post some of these later on online. My backup systems are going. All right. So let's switch over to what's in my backpack. So first, let me share this, that we are doing another Bosque del Apache workshop. I will put the actual link in the feed here in the November, December of 2022, myself and Scott Bourne. Scott's going to be focusing on video. I'm going to be doing the stills aspect of it. and it's going to be wildlife filmmaking and video and still photography at Bosque del Apache. It's an amazing place to be. It's so spiritual, unlike any other place. There's sounds there that you hear that have been taking place there, the sandhill crane and the geese, for millennia. So the sound you hear of that sandhill crane making that call, coming overhead and landing, and their behavior has been going on for thousands of years. Here's a little clip that Scott did while we were there. He was shooting with the Black Magic camera because he's doing more and more wildlife documentary filmmaking. So in the morning, it's sunrise. Ross's geese and the sandhill cranes, they fly into the pond from their other ponds where they were roosting. They all congregate, and it's like somebody blows the whistle right after sunrise. Boom, they explode and take off. I can't wait to put some of these up on our gallery, and I'll put that link in the page as well, the link to our gallery, which is store.bobanddawndavis.com. Very cool. All right, here's the manual for the EOS R3. It's online. The manual that comes with the camera is really just kind of a small manual. This is the advanced user guide. So I've got my homework cut out for me learning all this material, and I do suggest becoming just as familiar with that as you can work all the forms and functions in the dark. So here we go. EOS R3. So what's in the bag? So this is what I took into the field in Bosque, and this is what I took into the field yesterday to go photograph the snowy owl. This is the Think Tank Backlight 45L. Extremely comfortable backpack. Now, once I get to the destination where I'm going, the wheels come out. In the top pack, which is detachable, I'll put an extra jacket, gloves, hand warmers. There's a sling in here. It's really well thought out. And this could also be used as a waist pack, right? You could run a belt through it. But inside here, I've got the ground cover or rain cover for the backpack. It was very dusty at White Sands and at Bosque. I got a blower bulb, right? You need that. Headlamp with white light, red light, because we are out before the sunrise. And especially in White Sands, you don't want to get lost. So you need that headlight, and red light makes it so much easier. I brought a neutral density filter, 6-stop neutral density filter, and a polarizer filter, which really helped at White Sands, and a stepping ring. So the filter is for my largest lens, and then it steps down to the next size. Little shaving brush to keep dust off the lens and off the body. I have these dust rain covers, which are really inexpensive. Optech USA for both a small medium zoom and then the large 600 millimeter zoom. Now if I was going to be shooting in the rain, I would use my Think Tank Hydrophobia. But I have these in my backpack in an emergency for dust, sudden rain, whatever weather may come up, right, to protect the gear, even though it is weather sealed. I have a couple RX bars, get out in the field. I have an additional strap to strap anything to the backpack. So these are all my accessories that go in the detachable top. Now, when I'm in the field, this will come with all these things because I might need the ground cover, clean some dust before you change lenses. Usually once I'm in a dusty environment like that, I don't like to change lenses because I don't want any schmutz to get on the image sensor. So what I would totally do is unpack the computer gear. Now, in my computer pack, I have backups. So I have the card readers because it's the CF Express. I have 2 SanDisk CF Express card readers. We could also download right from the camera to the computer or to the Narbox. Narbox is actually a little computer that's a portable hard drive with accessories, so I could plug in these card readers. I could plug it into the computer as an external hard drive. You could travel without a computer with this, download your media cards directly to it. It has a built-in SD card slot reader, or with the USB-C cables, I could plug these directly into it. It download But not only does it download, but it does a checksum factor, so it verifies. That's very important. I don't erase my cards because I'm fortunate enough to have enough memory, but if you were to erase your cards, at least you know they're verified on here. If there was an error in the copy, it would tell you there's an error. So this is very handy. This is a 1 terabyte drive. This is a USB power port to charge up. And this is also a battery, so if you needed to charge your phone, flashlight, anything like that, you could plug it into it. So it's waterproof, it's rugged, it's solid state. It's the bomb. I take that with on all of our excursions. And like I said, it broadcasts a signal, so you could check your files, the JPEG files, or the RAW files from your phone, tablet, or computer and read it wirelessly. This is the Katana gimbal, the Katana Tomahawk gimbal. So let's show you how that works. So the tripod's on the side, really comfortable. I'm going to unbuckle the belt accessory on the front. There we go. So now the belts will swing around. We'll take the tripod off. So when I get to where I'm going, I'm going to carry the tripod in my hand, and I'll have it all set up. Now, if we're doing wildlife, early morning before sunrise, of course I'm going to do a tripod because I can't hand hold a 600 millimeter lens. Remember I said I needed 2 purposes for this tripod. 1 for a gimbal, and 2 when I went to White Sands for long exposure in landscape. So here we go. We have a gimbal, which gives us, I loosen up the horizontal turn, sweet, and we have the pivot here. And I'll get to that in 1 second. There we go. Pro Media gear, great stuff. And continuing in the front pocket. And again, I brought this just to have it, Canon EL1. I didn't need to use the flash, so that's going to stay back in the hotel room. Also, I have the MagMod. This is great for bird photography. If it was early morning, bird in a tree, fill in the shadows, anything like that. This is the Mag Beam. So this will work with the 600, the 100, the 500 to project your flash further into the field. It's great for seeing detail in birds at a distance. There comes 2 for now lenses with it. 1 for the cookies, the cutouts for creative lighting, which I use for portraits and things like that. And then just the straight up for now lens for magnification. And the Mag Beam rubber band. So that's in the front, and all this stuff lightens up the backpack tremendously for when we actually go out on a shoot. I don't take the laptop into the field. That'll stay. Here's another plate that I have. So this is a nodal plate, and what a nodal plate is it means no parallax point. So what you want to do if you're doing stitch and pan, large landscape photos where you take multiple photographs in a vertical format with the camera and then you put them together in post, if you find the optical center of the lens to pivot over the tripod center, then it's much easier to stitch your photos together without any weird distortion. So I brought that because we were going to be doing landscapes. What else is in the bottom? That's it. So that lightens it up tremendously. In the top is where I had the 16 to 35. Also, the STE3 Speedlight transmitter. And you can put anything else you want here. I also have Leica Zeiss lens wipes. Again, for cleaning lenses and dust. It's a very dusty, dry environment. I have a chamois for cleaning the lenses. So all those things go into the top. Now, let's get into the back. So what I love about this backpack are the side pockets. It has a water bladder if you want to put it in here. I use it when I do engagement sessions where I'll put a strobe in here and 2 light stands, light modifiers. So it's not just for wildlife. All the zippers are weather seamed, so no rainwater is going to get it in there. So it keeps it nice and tight and dry. Plenty of pockets. There's a storage pocket in the front. You could stuff your passes, flight passes, identification, anything you need in there. And what's awesome is I'm going to show you some photos, and I'll put it in the feed too. This fits in the regional jet overhead compartment, even with the tripod on. I just took the wheels off. But what I like about this is you can lay it down on the ground, great padding, most comfortable backpack ever. We're going to open it up, and I'll show you the gear inside. So let me clean up this space so we don't get too many things in the way. Let's see, let me check. Any questions there? There, Jake. How you doing, Jake? Thanks for joining us. Bella, you're not able to see me. My screen is so small in the corner. Oh, well, here, Bella. I'll do, right there. There we go. Hey, Bella, how you doing? How's Fritz? What's going on? Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year. I hope you guys are keeping healthy and doing well. Let's switch back over to the, oh, I had that in the small view the entire time. Oh, man. There we go. That's the bigger view. So here's the backpack. Sorry about that. It opens from the back. Here's the inside. Now, this bag is not listed to hold and carry a 600 millimeter lens, but I managed to fit it and get it in and it works. What's inside here is a removable compartment. Let's say the airline gives you a hard time and says emphatically no, it won't go on the plane. You could just take this inner compartment out, carry it on. Now what I do is every time I get on a plane, no matter what it is, large, small, regional, I take a photograph of the plane and the plaque card showing it does fit. Here's something I've been using since they came out, are the little Apple trackers. These are great. So you can always see your bag as long as it's near somebody with an iPhone. In the other pocket, I have my media cards. I have Allen wrenches and a little screwdriver. That's in the top. But here's what we have in the main compartment. Is I took out the cross divider. I took out the top padding of this internal unit, and it allows me to get the 600 f4 EF. This is the EF version, not the RF, f4 IS version 3. This is an amazing lens. It's my go-to primary for wildlife. Beautiful, gorgeous lens, and it's so light I can hand hold it. The first 600 I have of the EF version was 13 pounds or 13 and a half pounds. No way I was hand holding that. And it's just bright. IS is amazing, everything. So you can see once you take that out, these top dividers can move. They're anchored on the bottom, but we have lots of space. So because it's an EF lens, I need the Canon EF to RF adapter. I have the one with the control ring so that I could adjust things like exposure compensation or whatever I program that control ring to do. So that's on there. That's going, all the other lenses I have are RF. So I brought the 100 to 500 with me. Now remember, this is an amazing lens, but if you're there at first light early morning, you rack it out to 500, you are at 7.1 aperture. It starts out, it jumps from 5.6 to 7.1 once you go past 400 millimeters. Amazing lens. I am selling my Canon EF 100 to 400 because I have the RF 100 to 500. And then if I'm carrying this on my shoulder, I take the tripod collar off because it just lightens the load a little bit and then it's not bumping your hip, right? So I would leave this in the hotel room if I'm not putting this lens on the tripod. So that's in there. Next, I have the 24 to 105 RF f4 IS, amazing lens. I have my extenders. So these are EF extenders, and they work with the lens, the 600 millimeter EF, and the RF to EF adapter. So if I need a 2X, or if I want the 1.4 extender, and I even have a 12 millimeter extension tube. Let's say there was a bird closer than the minimum focusing distance of the 600 millimeter lens, I put the extension tube on, and now I can focus even closer. So that's really handy for wildlife. Then I brought with two EOS R5s with the updated firmware. So they are both in here. The EOS R5, we'll take that out and we'll compare it with the R3. So let me pack this back up so I don't lose anything. EF to RF adapter, 100 to 500, the 24 to 105. Now remember, the 16 to 35 was in the lid. And put this in. And it works best with the large head toward the top, at least for the configuration that I have, versus having it on the bottom. Now, if you really need a lens hood, I suggest getting the flexible lens hood, compact one from Lens Coat or something like that. So it's a snug fit, but it fits. There we go. It's in. Awesomeness. Good deal. There we go. All set. And then I would just put it on, right? And it's good. Good to go. You know, I hiked all over Bosque. I hiked all over, I should show you the gimbal on this, all over White Sands. So let me put the 600 on here. And again, just for getting through the airports and things, I don't want to carry 45 pounds on my back. I have these small, compact wheels. Got them off Amazon. Boom. Get you through the airport really quick. Could I have probably done this with just the 100 to 500? Sure I could. But again, the 600 is just my go-to wildlife lens. I happen to get lucky and see a kestrel. I love the kestrel. And I was able, because they're kind of a little skittish, I was able to then use the 2X on it with the R5. Gorgeous. Got some great moments with this kestrel. So I'm putting on the RF to EF adapter. And I'm going to put on the EOS R3. So here's what we do. And then I'll show you how you balance it so you know it's balanced. So we have the Arca Swiss plate on the lens. And I could even make it more compact and lighter by replacing the Canon foot with an Arca Swiss. So you see right now it's not very balanced, it's front heavy. So what we're going to do is loosen this grip, slide this back to where we get a nice pivot balance point. See, it's still front heavy. And then there's a grading scale. Now it's a little back heavy. And you could just write down the mark that gives you perfect balance. And there we go, it's balanced. So now, instead of carrying two heads into the field, I'm very fluid, as you can see. The ball head is loose on the bottom, the gimbal is loose here, and it gives me full mobility for birds in flight and stabilization, right? Awesome. So there we go. That's the R3, the EF 600 F4 with the EF to RF adapter. Very cool. So let's take this, I'm going to lock it down, and then we'll do a comparison of size, body for body. Let me set this guy down. All right, let's switch cameras. There we go. Let's check. Yeah, that lens is amazing, Bella. I tell you, it's worth every penny if you are going to be photographing nature and wildlife. And I'm just capping up the RF 16 to 35 2.8 IS. There we go. I'm going to take the strap off of the R5 just so we can see side by side. Weight, non-scientifically, I'm saying the R5 with the two batteries in the pack is a little bit heavier than the R3 with the battery in it. And remember, this is fully weather sealed, magnesium alloy battery. It's just, I would say it's a 1 series in terms of toughness. We'll do a side by side. Size-wise, they look identical to me. If I set them down, I know I'm off to the side. Yeah, they look to be identical. The screen is slightly larger, the review screen. and the viewfinder is definitely larger. So if I stay on this camera, and if I grab the HDMI out from the other camera, I should be able to show you the eye tracking through here. I've not done this before, so let's see if it'll work. I'm going to put the lens on, and then I'm going to grab the other camera cable and see if I could get the signal out. So there we go. So I'm not worried about the megapixels dropping from 45 to 24. Weddings and events, I used to use all 1DX, right? And then 1DX Mark II, then 1DX Mark III, and those were 20 megapixels. And we still made gorgeous wall art, beautiful prints. 45 megapixels is great when I want to do portraits or commercial work or details and fine detail and lots of, but for speed, accuracy, low light, high ISO, I'm going back. So I'll probably always have an R5 in the camera bag at weddings and events, but the R3, just the gear and the technology gets out of the way. When you could look through the viewfinder, focus anywhere you want, that's faster to me than trying to track a face where it's guessing and moving. I don't know, more control I have, the better. So I'm gonna go over here and see if I can get this cable in and get the signal out and see if we could boot that up so you could see what I see. This may work. So I'm going to put it in. So it's a micro HDMI. Told you a lot to unpack here. And we're in. Power up the camera. I'm going to take my glasses off and I'm going to turn on the all right, here we go. Oh, so you're seeing the back. We're seeing the back. How could I get it to see? So you could push and hold the set button, and there you see eye control is active. Now, if I go this way, here I'll go through the focus modes. And what I've done is I've done a lot of custom setups and things on this. So when I tap the AF on button, push it in, it cycles through my focus selections. So that here you can see this is a single point, right? I'll move it over here. So single point focus locks on immediately. Then I could push it in again. It goes from the precision to a large box. I push it in again. Now I have a square box, right? Which I find very useful. Oh, I want to find where the camera is going to focus with face head eye detection right here. So if I focus on that teddy bear, it should find its face. Yep. Here, let me get, yeah, see the eye? It went to the eye, burp, 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 because it's an animal. And if I move off of it, see how it stays locked? Amazing. And then when it can't find it, it goes to more focus points. Okay, here, let me set this here really quick. And I'll grab the teddy bear, move it closer. Let's see what it does. So here's my mom's teddy bear, cinnamon bear. All right, so there's the bear. So let's switch back to the R3. And good. See that? Right to the eye. Look at that. Right to the eye. Now if I change it from so it's in a square, right? See, so I'm telling it, oh, I want to focus over here. But because I have the eye detection enabled, even though I'm incorrect, it's still going to the eye, right? And if I come off the eye, look how sticky it is. Oh man, that's exciting. There's a long horizontal for birds in flight, and you saw the vertical one for tall objects. Right? If you were doing basketball, this would be great. I only want this area to focus. And then it goes right to the eye. And we could disable that head face eye, not head, but eye detection. So it'll just go for a body or a head. And this is anywhere. So the last scenario I have is it's just looking for a face, the entire field of view. So this works with people and animals extremely, extremely well. right? Very cool. ISOs have been super clean. Trying to think, how could I get it to show through the viewfinder? Let me check the menus really quick here. There's got to be a way. So if I go into the, here's that IPT stationary information. So I have my captions in there. Right, let's see. I think it's a yellow setting, which will ask about the video signal. Okay, that's not it. Auto rotate on. I know there's a setting in here where I could tell it. Maybe it's a red. Cropping, aspect ratio. I'm writing RAW and large JPEG. Anti-flicker, metering modes, picture. I wonder if I put it in video. There is a setting, because I found it on my R5. Display simulation on. Shooting viewfinder, display performance. No, it's going to have to do it video. Here's their AF, all the AF settings. All right. I thought it was somewhere in here. That's auto rotate. Hey Brooke, how's it going? Glad you could jump in. Just trying to find a setting for showing the HDMI out. Nope. Well, what if I do this? Oh, there you go. Now you're seeing, I think, yep, you're seeing exactly, but it's not showing the viewfinder information this way. It's just showing the video signal. Okay. We'll have to see how I could show you the actual information for focus. Sweet. Well, thanks for joining. If you have any questions, drop it in the feed. I'm also going to again put information. Here's our store, right? I'm adding new photographs, videos, live art show auctions to the store, store.bobanddawndavis.com. And remember, in 2022, where is it at? There it is. We're going to be having another workshop. And that's going to be going to Bosque del Apache. Myself, let me share the desktop here. Good. That's not it. Where's the screen? Come on, I lost it. Darn it. I'll put the link in there. Here it is. So, Bosque del Apache, myself and Scott. Some amazing photographs. This was from last week in New Mexico. So this is a blast off just at sunrise. You could see the birds taking off by the thousands. It's just a spectacle to be seen. So it's going to be November 27th to December 1st in 22. And the photo tour is going to be $13.99 per person. And it's limited to 14 participants. So it's going to be myself and Scott Bourne. So thanks again for joining. I appreciate it. Hey, Gus, how are you? What's been going on? Long time no see. Are you still in Ohio? Where'd it go? There it is. My screen's up. Cool. Turn the store off, and You can ask me anything if you want. All right, there's still time. I'm not in a hurry to go anywhere. So, come on, make this bigger. Nope, even bigger yet. Bosque del Apache in 2022. I'll put the link in the feed up there. Oh, here, getting back to what I was saying about travel. Let's pull this up, go back to the desktop. Okay, where'd it go? Here we go. So I did laundry because everything got extremely dusty and dirty in Bosque, and I didn't want to pack all that dirt and dust into my suitcase, so the night before I left, I did laundry. And while I was there, I started doing downloads, backup, and culling from the last day. So in the laundromat, I'm using Photo Mechanic to caption everything, download the cards both to the NAR box and to this small 2 terabyte SSD portable drive SanDisk for the laptop, so I free up my laptop so we're not eating up all the storage space there. Again, if you don't have a card reader, you could plug your cameras using the USB-C cable right into your laptop and download from that. And here is the backpack that I was using, the Mindshift Think Tank Backlight 45L. Here I am in the airport in Albuquerque. So this is the bag rolling to get onto a regional jet to come home. There it is, nice, compact. If I have to, I'll take the wheels off. So this is in the overhead compartment of the regional jet. I took the tripod out so it would fit all the way in, and I took the wheels off. There's the wheels laying on top. So here's the regional jet. There you go. It's an E170, 175 Bombardier. These are the tightest, and this is what has the most restrictions. So it fit in there, no problem at all. Weighed the bag in, and without the tripod, it weighed 42 pounds. So all good to go. There's the bad boy, the new EOS R3. It's been amazing so far, and as I shared, I had a one-day session. So here's me at White Sands. This was John Hallett, took this photograph of me doing a nice low angle. I did an HDR. I also did a panel of this scene. So it was really cool. And I'll be sharing some of those later on. In fact, let's just jump over here in the Sandhill cranes. I will say hi to Dawn. Dawn, Bella and Fritz and Brooke. Bella and Brooke, say hello. The Fritzes say hello and happy holidays. Going all the way down here. Pop, pop, pop. I'm just going to go down to White Sands. So here's these gorgeous sunrises, sunsets. And I'll be posting a few of these once I get a chance to work them. And this is White Sands, right? I wanted to go for those abstract black and white photographs, and these are with the R5. I didn't have the R3 before the trip. And so when I'm doing things like this, in my imagination, if I'm seeing and thinking black and white, I will use my monochrome preset. And here you go, I'm bracketing the exposures. And we'll put those together so we could get the higher dynamic range. The dunes were just amazing, just gorgeous. And you really could get lost out there because it's just white. And once you get way out in the dunes, it's devoid of any landmarks or posts. So I actually used an old school compass to mark where the car was so that I could navigate my way back because there isn't a cell phone signal out there. So you want to be able to have that. So just to give you a perspective, here's a person walking up from out in the dunes on how vast this space is. So it was just amazing to be there. And some of the color ones. The next day I started to focus on the trees and the growth and the yuccas. So here we go. And again, I did multiple exposures so that we could go from the sky, midtones, shadows, and our highlights. So we'll combine all those later on. So thanks again. I know I went a little bit long, but I had a lot to unpack here. I appreciate you guys tuning in, and I will be posting this on YouTube and on my Bob Davis Facebook as well. Happy holidays. Be well, be safe, stay healthy.